I'm going to talk a little bit about integration and the problems with integration, the major issues with integration, and what to watch out for. So really, this is not anything new or rocket science, but it's something that we see, time and time again, and that is you have companies, large enterprises, tackle projects that are fairly complex in nature, that have distributed systems connecting to each other and talking to each other. Sometimes like highly coupled, sometimes fairly well designed and decoupled. Whether it's data, whether it's being synchronous type connections, or whether they're introducing mechanisms and intermediaries to manage the transport protocol or the actual data. So there is a lot of parts to solving this problem well. However, what we see is these large organizations taking on these projects and not really understanding where it can go wrong. And usually it's because it's the first time they take on this kind of project. After a couple of these projects, the CIO will have become wary of taking these projects on and know how to better manage the risk in them. So ultimately, what is the risk? How do we define, let's say, a failed project? And I hate just saying failed. People say, oh, failed. It's not failure. It's a learning lesson. Let's think about it from a project perspective. Like if a project is delivered on time and delivered on budget, we might be able to say, and the agreed scope of that is delivered, we might be able to say that project has succeeded. Maybe the ultimate test for succeeding is, did the business get the value it's looking for? So maybe there's an ROI metric that would ultimately determine the success of a project. But if forgetting about what defines a failed project, let's talk about what makes projects blow out in time and budget. And really, it's a number of things. But one of the key signs you see is projects going live, and then an awful lot of development time goes into fixing those projects after they go live. You'll see potentially full-time resources, full-time developers just constantly getting that project running properly, whether it's making sure bugs and exceptions are not occurring in production, or telemetry and improving the monitoring and the management of those system integrations. You kind of see this whole, we delivered this and it's in live, but then you go and spend a lot of money and a lot of time fixing it up. Now that may be workable. Maybe there was a really clear time frame that you had to deliver by, and the quality of the delivery wasn't so important. The business was accepting of delivering a half-baked or a lower quality type solution with the idea that you'd fix it up, but at least there was something going. Now, not all businesses are that accepting. And so, really, most of the time, equality shouldn't be the thing that gets deprioritized. Really, what should be deprioritized is maybe scope. Maybe instead of doing all of those things, you do less things, but you do them well, you do them properly, and then you can release the proper, more features later on. You might want to say, we want to do this fancy transformation and or some kind of special way of managing failed interfaces, etc. Okay, how about you get the initial interface deployed, and then you can look at releasing features later on around advanced management of kind of these exception scenarios where they fail, but you kind of really need to handle them in a better way. Or you want to improve the kind of reporting out of your integration layer. Or you want to make it a little bit more reusable because there's some other interfaces coming down the line, so you get your happy path interface out, and then you deploy one that's maybe refactored, doing exactly the same thing, but refactored in a way that it's more reusable for the upcoming next set of interfaces, the next set of projects that are going to reuse, some of the components, some of what you've already built. So where these things really go wrong, I think, is deprioritizing quality and releasing fast, and then having a lot of problems in production. Not understanding what they're getting in for. So inexperienced integration teams often don't really know how long it's going to take to get there. They will underestimate the time, the complexity, the things they need to do to have really nicely running operational interfaces. When I say interfaces, I'm kind of talking about systems integration interfaces, end-to-end systems talking between enterprises that usually are part of a distributed kind of business process transaction that's critical. That interface delivers a message once and only once in order to ensure the successful completion of that overall business process. It could be part of an invoicing cycle. You want to make sure that invoice is generated in your billing system, or maybe in your practice management system, your timesheeting system, and then it gets delivered to your financial system in a way where that data is not corrupted and it gets delivered once and only once, but it definitely gets delivered within a timely manner. And so all of these kind of more concerns, we're not talking about synchronizing data between systems. We're really talking about ensuring a transactional business process occurs across systems in a fundamentally set, reliable, guaranteed way, and that it also can scale out. And there's lots of different ways that we can design for that. But in the integration team who doesn't really understand or know what good looks like, what a great design pattern looks like, what are the problems that are going to happen in operations, what happens when we get to production, and what it's like to manage interfaces in production so that you're really minimizing the amount of time. An integration team that's not experienced will just not kind of know to think those things and ask those questions and set the scope up front. At least you can have a conversation whether you want to do those things or not. You're setting expectation of what the cost is, what the time frame is, how, what's an appropriate level to solve the problem at. All those things are very important. And so what often happens is you have these integration projects that fail because the integration team is inexperienced. They're not well versed at maybe implementing integration. They may not be well versed at, maybe just gathering the requirements, requirements, elicitation, and then getting endorsement, replaying it back, ensuring what is being built actually makes sense is the first thing to get right. Then actually building it well. Building integration well is important. Not only does it need to ensure delivery of whatever you're doing, so that message needs to get to that target system, but also, transparency into your integration layer is really a very important aspect of your integration platform that really gives your CIO, your executive management, a little bit more comfort that your support team, managers, people can quickly have a look at where, if something's gone wrong, where has it gone wrong? What has gone wrong? What's the business impact of this thing going wrong? Do we need to shift all of our resources to solve this problem quickly, or is it not that serious? Understanding the severity of a problem is critical to knowing how to address it. And I feel, sometimes when the integration layer falls over or interfaces deployed into your integration layer fall over, because of that lack of visibility, it really creates a lot of anxiousness within the IT management team and basically loses confidence in your integration layer. And not only just your integration layer, your integration team itself. So, integration projects fail often usually because, it's an inexperienced team. They cannot really understand what it takes to deliver high quality interfaces that actually meet the expectation of the business. I think it comes down to that simple thing. I hope that my learnings that I've shared here help you and shed a bit of light on the fact that, when you're a large enterprise and you're taking your systems integration seriously and you want to get ROI, but you also need to deliver a quality of service solution, having an experienced integration team do the work is absolutely key.